Last year, you didn't ruin your garden in July or August. You actually ruined it in April. I don't think a lot of beginner gardeners or gardeners in general realize how much needs to go into your May and June, the first 30 days of your garden, to ensure its success long term later into the season. I call this the 30-day root lock window. And once you understand this, you will never garden the same way ever again. If you don't know who I am, hi, hello, my name is Ashley. I have a bachelor's of science in soil science. I like to take said science and apply it to the garden. I am in a cold climate, if you cannot tell. There's no leaves on trees. Gardens are mostly not planted, and therefore it may be incredibly relevant to you. But if the climate is not relevant to you, I can assure you the science is, because the science can be applied to all continents across the world, which is actually a lot of the gardeners on this channel are from across the world. So hit that subscribe button if you want to stay in touch, learn more, or just very simply support someone who's human and not AI, which is shockingly important nowadays. First off, starting early is only relevant if your plant can actually grow. And that is completely determinant on your soil temp. Now, I'm not going to talk about this too much because I've talked about it exhaustively here over the last little bit, but you can get a soil temp thermometer. That soil temp thermometer is important not just for transplants like what we have here, but also for seed starting. Soil temp determines how and when things germinate, how or when things actually take off after being transplanted. And the reason for this is because root enzymes, the plant itself, actually slows down. If those root enzymes slow down, root exudates don't get released. If root exudates don't get released, microbes don't do their job, nutrient doesn't get uptaken. You can kind of see it's a multitude of domino effects that ultimately affect that plant. I'm sure you've seen plants that have been transplanted kind of turn yellow or look like yellow, but with green veins in them. And this is actually due to what we already know, due to several studies, which is a decrease in phosphorus availability. Now, the reason why phosphorus availability decreases in soils below 10 degrees Celsius has a lot to do with that root enzyme, the soil microbial activity, and ultimately that plant just functionally being stalled. Now, this bed here is filled with purple kohlrabi, brassicas, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, celeries, that sort of thing, do really well in cooler soils. So 50 degrees Fahrenheit is approximately where they need to be. 45 degrees Fahrenheit for apparently a lot of them is where the plants need to be before they start to germinate. And that's kind of where this bed is at. Now, if you were to have something like a tomato or a pepper, you actually want much warmer soil. You want closer to 60 degrees Fahrenheit. And if you don't have that, your plant will be functionally stalled. Now, we can use this intelligence to actually help us determine the planting depth for our plants based on the bed that they're in. Because this bed is a much different temperature than another bed in my yard that I just tested today that is 10 degrees cooler than this bed right here, which is enormous when it comes to a plant. It can be the make it or break it in regards to when your plant is no longer functionally stalled. So if you have a tomato or a pepper plant, for example, and you do the classic sink it to the hilt method that has been recommended by so many, which is completely wrong, by the way. I'm starting to see more and more influencers say it's wrong. Just remember, you heard it here first, folks. I've been talking about this for like 3-4 years now, which the channel's only been around for like 5 years. And the first year I was really scared to say anything because the internet can be really brutal, but I digress. The key here is not to sink the plant. You want the plant, the root of the plant, to be in a position that is ideal temperature. So if you stick the soil temp thermometer in and you go to transplant the plant and the bottom of that hole is cold, do not transplant at that depth. Raise that plant up into a temperature that is better or much more in line with what that plant needs. So in the case of where I am in a zone 3, that means planting much, much closer to the surface. I'm talking root ball at the surface amount. And for those of you in California or maybe in Mexico or in Australia, because many of you on the Geek Crew actually are from there, you may actually consider sinking them lower, because the original study that determined how gardeners actually plant their tomatoes was done in Florida, which is hot. So that's why it was recommended to sink it so deep. What we did as gardeners is we read the study, or maybe we were told about it, and then we just kind of extrapolated and chalked it up to like, okay, yeah, great. Plant them deeper. It's for the roots, but it's not for the root growth on the stem from the undifferentiated stem cell tissue. It actually hugely has to do with the root ball itself and the temperature it's at. And in that study in Florida, we sunk it to health, which allowed for those cooler temps, which is hugely beneficial in that case. In this case, here in Canada, not so much, particularly if we're doing in-ground. If we're doing containers, maybe raised beds in some cases, but in most, not the case. And the only way to know that is via this, because everyone has a microclimate and everyone's microclimate will be different. I've got these bad boys literally all over the garden. But they're not expensive. This is my favorite one, though, the rapid test one. I have another brand, not my favorite, but you know what? It does the trick. It tells me what temperature it has to be at. Next up is transplant stress, not necessarily induced by soil temp, but due to exactly what happens when you transplant. And because the theme of this is the 30-day root lock window, we need to discuss when we actually pull the plants out and we have roots on the bottom, or we have root bound or pot bound plants, exactly what we should be doing. So if you watch my video on roots and plants, you know that for tomatoes and peppers, as an example, I usually use a root trainer pot, something that's deeper. And the reason for that is because it makes for that healthier root system. But that can't always be the case. If you're buying bedding plants, for example, like I did here, you're getting them from the store and they won't have that root trainer pot because it's too flimsy, because it's supposed to be, or it's just too expensive for many of these greenhouses to purchase and then sell to you. So if you're stuck with something like this, you've got roots sticking out the bottom, you're looking for bedding plants, that sort of thing. One of the key things you do want to look for is ensuring that this is not taking place, or if this is taking place, it's taking place in a lesser intensity. Because when we rip this off, the plant isn't just going to start growing roots. That's not the case. You have risks of infection, you have risks of die-off, you have risks of stress, and all of that can and will slow down your plant, particularly if we're not paying attention to that soil temp. Now, furthermore, when you pop the plant out, if it is spiraling or it's doing the spiral of death, it's important that we just leave it. We don't need to wrestle and tussle too much. We can flick the roots and kind of separate them to help drive them down, but we don't want to completely demo the bottom of the plant, because the below ground biomass is directly related to the amount of above ground biomass you have. The below ground biomass you have developed in this container is meant to support the above ground biomass you currently see and the future above ground biomass that will exist. This biomass below the ground can and will be more than the above ground. The reason being is that this comes first. Chicken and the egg, roots are first before the shoots. And that's just a fact. You need to build the roots and you need to have healthy roots before you can build more shoots. So if you damage the roots, you are not just damaging the current amount of biomass that needs to be supported, but the future biomass that the plant was predicting it needed based on the conditions it was last in. So be nice to your roots, please and thanks, because it can and will make a big difference when you go to transplant, and really ensuring that 30-day root establishment window is maxed out. And if we damage those roots, there is a time period that all has to be rebuilt, and it has to be rebuilt before that above ground biomass goes on. We don't want that downtime, particularly when we're talking about a cold season climate where my fingers are freezing at 7 o'clock at night when the sun is out, because it's not cold. It's not warm. It's cold here. Winter just doesn't want to leave. So the wind is cold, which is weird because anyways, I digress. But you know what? That's a great reason to get the new Gardening in Canada merch with the new logo on it. I also have t-shirts that have my face on it because I thought it was funny. I have less creepy ones as well, but I think the face one is hilarious. Plus, you're going to recognize each other walking around in public at greenhouses because you're just going to see red hair because that's literally what the t-shirt is. I bought one because who doesn't want to see my face twice walking down an aisle at a grocery store? The next one is actually the timing for the plant. So I don't think a lot of people will talk about this, but you can buy tomatoes in literally all stages of growth. You can buy tomatoes that are absolutely massive, fruiting and flowering already. And then you can just get ones like what I have. This is a tomato that I grew. And I'm doing a whole video on like the different times in which you can start a tomato and how it makes no difference. Because so long as it's within reason, my dog wants to play. You want to play? Give me the damn ball. Give me the tennis ball. Give me the puppy ball. He's got a tennis ball addiction. Now, so long as your seeds are started within reason, the size of the plant really doesn't matter that much because everything does catch up relatively quickly. What I will say is these guys aren't going out till the beginning of June. So they're not going to get transplanted outside for another month. This is the stage that at least half of my tomato seedlings are at. And this is okay. The reason being, timing of how big your plant is makes a huge difference in how successful it will grow. So plants that are itsy bitsy transplant a heck of a lot better than large plants. Large plants tend to show a lot of stress, and this amount of stress can and will translate into a stunted plant, both for root and shoot biomass. So transplant smaller plants. If you are purchasing plants from the store and not seed starting, go for the smaller guys. I know it's fun to go for the big guys, but this is the one and only time I will say go for the smaller guy because the smaller one is much more amicable to success, if you will. Now, the last tip is hands down going to be hardening off correctly because hardening off incorrectly can make a damaging difference to your yields. And there's a number of different ways to do that. For example, the bucket method is one of them. And if you want to learn more about the bucket method or how I don't actually harden off because it's not necessary to be done in the pattern in which people say it needs to be done, then check out this video right here. And that video is what Google says you should watch next. So they're watching you, and so they know what you're thinking at all times. I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.